I think when I reflect on the announcement that I'm about to make, maybe I'll make the announcement first and I'll get into the reflections on it. I am honored to be the Premier standing here on this day with the Energy Minister, with my caucus colleagues, with the Horgan family, to announce that the Site C Dam will be renamed the John Horgan Dam and Generating Station. Now, I think a reasonable person could ask, after everything that you just said about John and his position on the Site C Dam, why would government choose to rename the dam after John? And it is a desire to reflect the complexity and the challenge of governing that John engaged in a style that was recognized and appreciated by British Columbians across the province. The naming reflects the nuance and the challenge of decisions that confronted John in his time and is emblematic of his integrity and his willingness to move forward in the best interests of British Columbians and to reconsider and ensure that the decisions he was making were in the best interests of British Columbians. It is a complicated and nuanced decision to name the Site C Dam for Premier John Horgan, and it reflects his approach to office and his approach to this province. And it is a very fitting monument to a man who has my utmost respect. The reservoir behind the dam will also be named Nache Miga, which was a name chosen with the local First Nation. It means Dreamer Lake. And we'll be engaging in a ceremony in the north with First Nations about that naming at a future date. But this naming reflects the start and the expansion of BC's clean energy chapter, expanding our clean energy advantage as a bulwark against global uncertainty, threats from our American neighbor to the south, and our desire to enhance our competitive advantage to deliver jobs, opportunity, prosperity, and put money in the pockets of British Columbians. John loved BC deeply, and I really wish he were here today, but I think all of us know that if John were here today, he would not have allowed us to name the dam or anything after him, and he would have used much rougher language than dam. So it is with mixed feelings, but certainly a strong sense of pride in John's accomplishment in his time as Premier and his contribution to the province of British Columbia that I'm honored to join you here today for this celebration of his work and life. Thank you.
And as you will know, the name of the reservoir, Nachimege, recognizes First Nations history and culture and tradition in the Peace region. And I want to acknowledge the First Nations that engaged with the province and BC Hydro over the naming of the reservoir, particularly the Doig River First Nation, the Blueberry River First Nations, who put forward Nachimege as their option. And we're honored to proceed with that. One of the qualities of the many qualities that Premier Horgan, John, had was supporting especially younger people. He had a lot of proteges, and as I look around, I see some of them here, there's some of them behind me, and there's some of them in front of me. And he thought that was an important part of his task. If I may say, if there is a John Horgan protege in chief, one he was especially proud of, and one we're all especially proud of. It was his friend and protege and successor as MLA, Ravi Parmar, the Minister of Forests, MLA for Langford Highlands. I'd like to invite Ravi to say a few words.
Thanks very much, Minister Dix. Thank you, Premier. It is such an honor to be here. To Ellie and the family, I love you all. What a tremendous honor. And it's also great to have the world's best lacrosse team, the Shamrocks, in the house as well. To Jim Hartshorn and the team, it's good to see you, boys. I hope you enjoy this break before you get back to practice, because we're going to kick ass this year. Go Shamrocks, go. Tomorrow night, Q Center. If you haven't bought your tickets, what are you waiting for? It's a real honor to be here. John Horgan meant so many things to me and to so many people here. For me, he was a mentor, a friend, a role model, and in many ways, the reason why I'm standing here before you today. I know many of you have heard this story before, so I won't bore you with all the details, but I first met John Horgan when I was just a kid in grade 5 doing a class project on the 2005 election. Little did I know that meeting would change the course of my life. Over the years, I went from being a young campaign volunteer to working alongside him, to eventually following in his footsteps, representing the very communities he's loved so dearly. John believed in me long before I believed in myself. He opened doors, he challenged me, encouraged me, reminded me to work harder every single day. But for John, it was always about leadership. It was never about titles or power. It was always about people. He taught me that politics at its core is about service. It's about showing up. It's about caring deeply. It's about fighting for people who feel like nobody is fighting for them. I wouldn't be an MLA if it wasn't for John Horgan. But beyond politics, John was simply one of the most remarkable people I've ever met. He had a larger-than-life laugh, a huge heart, and a way of making every person feel seen and important. John showed me what leadership looked like. But most importantly, he showed me what humanity looked like. One of John's defining qualities as the Premier was that he was willing to make difficult decisions, even when they came with enormous political risk. I think it's fair to say, as the Premier acknowledged, this decision to move forward with Site C was one of them. There was intense debate, criticism, and pressure around the project, including at home as well. Walking away would have been easier politically, but John understood something important. Leadership is not about making easy choices or easy decisions. It's about making the decision you feel that will serve future generations. John saw beyond the headlines of the day. He saw a growing province, more people calling British Columbia home, increasing demand for clean electricity, and the need to build the infrastructure that future generations would depend on. He knew that if British Columbians wanted to build homes, attract investment, and electrify industry, and compete in a changing world, we needed the power and we needed long-term thinking. The John Horgan Dam will provide clean electricity for generations of British Columbians. Decades from now, families will flip on their lights, industries will grow, and communities will thrive because of the decisions made long before their time. I think history will remember John Horgan as a builder. He built hospitals, schools, and childcare spaces. He invested in transit and infrastructure. He believed government had a responsibility not simply to manage the province, but to shape it for the better. John was never interested in politics for politics' sake. He wanted to leave British Columbia stronger than he found it, and that he did. And that may ultimately become one of his greatest legacies. He was a premier who built things that will stand long after all of us are gone. The John Horgan Dam and Generating Station is a recognition of a guy from Langford who went on to become the Premier of British Columbia and never stopped believing in building big things. That is a remarkable legacy. Millions of British Columbians in the years and decades ahead, many who will never know his name or story, will benefit from what he helped build. And I think John would be proud of that. Thanks very much.
Now, we have a temporary plaque dedicating the John Horgan Dam and Generating Station here with us. We'll be placing a larger permanent bronze plaque with the same wording, I should say, at the dam site. There's some plaques with warnings at the dam site too. That plaque is currently in production in Fort St. John. But if you knew John, you knew that he loved Canada, and that he did. That he loved British Columbia, that he did. He loved the West Shore. He loved Langford that he did. But the people that he loved most were his family. And so it's my honor to ask Ellie Horgan, Nate Horgan, to come forward and accept this plaque from the Premier. No, I'm here.
Ducking down in a minute.
Thank you. So thank you very much. I want to thank people who, on relatively short notice, traveled here to be part of this today. We appreciate your travels, your journey, being part of this special moment. I want to invite everyone now inside to the Hall of Honor for a reception that we're going to hold. And thank you all. This is a great day, I think, for British Columbia. And it's a great day in recognition of our friend, Premier John Horgan. Thank you, everybody.